My billionaire CEO ex-husband's company audited my small business and discovered I had his secret twins. Bryn's hands wouldn't stop shaking as Callum spread her financial records across her desk, his voice deadly quiet. Double pediatric dental appointments. Twin stroller purchased March 2019. 2 sets of preschool tuition, same institution, same dates. He looked up, and she saw the exact moment the truth clicked into place. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me these aren't what I think they are. She couldn't. 6 years of carefully guarded secrets were scattered across her desk in black and white numbers that told a story she'd never wanted him to read. How old, Bryn? His voice cracked on her name. How old are they? 5. The word came out as a whisper. 5. He stepped back like she'd slapped him. 5 years. You kept my children from me for 5 years. I kept them safe from you. The words hung between them like a grenade, and Bryn watched her ex-husband's face cycle through shock, rage, and something that looked dangerously close to heartbreak. Have you ever watched your entire world unravel because of a random business audit? Have you ever had to confess a secret you swore you'd take to your grave? This is the story of a woman who left her husband on principle, only to discover that some secrets are too big to stay buried forever. Stay with me until the end to find out what happens when a ruthless CEO discovers the children he never knew existed, and whether some mistakes can ever truly be forgiven. If you've ever kept a secret that felt like a ticking time bomb, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you would have done in this situation. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back 3 weeks. To the moment Bryn Ashford's carefully constructed life started crumbling around her. The morning had started like any other Tuesday in Austin. Bryn arrived at Ember and Bloom at 6:30, unlocking the front door of her workshop and breathing in the familiar scent of lavender, vanilla, and the faint herbal notes from yesterday's soap batch. The space was her sanctuary. Exposed brick walls, Edison bulb lighting, wooden shelves lined with handmade soaps and candles in every color imaginable. She'd built this from nothing. After leaving Callum 6 years ago with barely enough money for first and last month's rent, she turned her hobby of making natural products into a thriving business. Ember and Bloom now employed 12 people, supplied boutiques across Texas, and had a loyal online following. It was proof that you could start over, that you could build something good and honest, and real. Her phone buzzed with a text from Lennox, her best friend who owned the indie bookstore next door. Coffee in 10? I have gossip. Bryn smiled and texted back a thumbs up. Lennox's gossip usually involved which local musician was dating which barista, harmless and entertaining. She started her morning routine, checking yesterday's inventory, reviewing online orders, planning the day's production schedule. At 7, her assistant manager Kira arrived, followed by the rest of the team trickling in over the next half hour. Morning, boss, Kira said, tying on her apron. We doing the eucalyptus mint batch today? And the honey oat? We're low on both. On it. Bryn loved this. The rhythm of creation, the satisfaction of making something beautiful and useful, the knowledge that her products were chemical-free, sustainably sourced, supporting local suppliers. Everything Callum's business wasn't. She pushed the thought away. She'd gotten good at not thinking about him over the years, good at pretending that part of her life had never happened. The mail arrived at 8:30. Bryn sorted through it absently. Bills, invoices, a thank you card from a customer, and an official-looking envelope with a return address that made her blood run cold. Thorn Analytics. Her coffee cup slipped from her hand, crashing to the floor and splattering across the concrete. Hot liquid splashed her jeans, but she barely noticed. Kira rushed over. Bryn, are you okay? I'm fine. Just clumsy. Her voice sounded far away, like someone else was speaking. She bent down to clean up the mess, using the moment to gather herself. Thorn Analytics, Callum's company. After 6 years of blessed silence, his company was contacting her. Why? With shaking hands, she opened the envelope. The letterhead was professionally intimidating. Thorn Analytics, corporate consulting and financial services. Below that, in crisp professional language, a notification that her business had been selected for a comprehensive financial audit. Bryn read it 3 times, each word sinking in like stones dropping into water. Selected for audit. Comprehensive review of all financial records, tax documents, business expenses, operational costs, everything. The letter was signed by someone named Marcus Reeves, Senior Audit Manager, Not Callum, but his company. His business. Operating under his name and his directives. Bryn? Kira's voice penetrated her panic. What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. I need to step outside for a minute. Bryn grabbed her phone and the letter, heading out the back door into the alley behind the building. The Texas heat hit her like a wall even in October. She leaned against the brick wall, her heart hammering so hard, she could feel it in her throat. This couldn't be happening. Not now. Not when everything was finally stable. She dialed Lennox. Hey, I'm bringing the coffee over in like 2 minutes. Lennox, I need you. Now. Back alley. The shift in her voice must have communicated the urgency, because Lennox just said, coming, and hung up. 30 seconds later, her best friend appeared, concern etched across her face. Lennox was tall, with short purple hair and enough tattoos to scandalize Bryn's mother, and she'd been Bryn's lifeline through the worst moments of her life. What happened? Bryn wordlessly handed her the letter. Lennox read it, her expression darkening. Thorn Analytics, as in Callum Thorne, your ex-husband Callum Thorne? The same. Okay, this isn't necessarily a disaster. It says the auditor is Marcus Reeves. Maybe Callum doesn't even know your business is on the list. These big consulting firms handle tons of clients. Maybe it's just random. Nothing involving Callum is random. Bryn's voice was bitter. And Lennox, if he sees my name, if he personally looks at this audit, he'll know. Know what? He'll see the evidence in my financial records. The twin stroller I bought. The double child care payments. The pediatric bills for 2 children, the birthday party expenses. All of it. Lennox's eyes widened as understanding dawned. Oh no. I've been so careful. No social media with their faces. Using my maiden name for everything. Keeping my personal and business lives completely separate. But my financial records, Lennox, they tell the whole story. Maybe he won't look that closely. Maybe the auditor will just verify that your numbers add up and move on. Bryn wanted to believe that. She really did. But she knew Callum, knew how his mind worked. If he saw her name on any report crossing his desk, he'd take over personally. Not out of sentimentality, but out of the same ruthless need to control everything that had destroyed their marriage in the first place. I need to talk to a lawyer, Bryn said. Figure out what my options are. What about telling him, before he finds out through an audit? Tell him what? That I've been hiding his children from him for 5 years? That I left him, found out I was pregnant a month later, and decided he didn't deserve to know? When you put it like that, it sounds bad. It is bad, Lennox. There's no version of this conversation that doesn't end with him either trying to take them from me or hating me for the rest of my life. Probably both. Lennox pulled her into a hug. Hey, we'll figure this out. You're not alone in this. But standing in that alley, holding a letter that could destroy everything she'd built, Bryn had never felt more alone. That night, after picking up Asher and Willa from kindergarten, after making dinner and supervising homework and reading bedtime stories, Bryn finally allowed herself to fall apart. She sat in her small home office, surrounded by photos of her children, and let the fear consume her. Asher and Willa were everything. Her serious, thoughtful son who approached life with scientific precision. Her creative, exuberant daughter who saw magic in everything. They were happy, secure, loved. And they had no idea their father existed. Bryn had told them the truth, age-appropriate version. That their daddy hadn't known about them, that sometimes adults make complicated choices, that they were loved and wanted, always. Asher had accepted this with his characteristic logic. Some families have different structures. That's statistically normal. Willa had been more wistful. But do we have a daddy somewhere? You do, Bryn had told her. But he can't be part of our lives right now. Why not? Because the timing isn't right, sweetheart. She'd hated lying. Hated the half-truths and careful omissions. But the alternative was telling 2 5-year-olds that their mother had deliberately kept them from their father because she was terrified of what he'd become. Bryn pulled up her financial records on her laptop, seeing them through an auditor's eyes. Through Callum's eyes. There it was, clear as day. The evidence of twins woven through every transaction. March 2019. Double crib purchase from Baby World. $1,300. April 2019, twin stroller, premium model, $899. Ongoing. Bright Beginnings preschool, Tuition for two. $1,200 monthly. Pediatric dental. Dr. Sarah Morrison. 2 appointments, same day, different times. Children's birthday party. Chuck E. Cheese. Receipt notation. Twins' 5th birthday celebration. On and on. A financial paper trail that told the complete story of raising twins. Callum would see it. She knew he would. And when he did, 6 years of carefully maintained separation would explode. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Bryn almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Miss Ashford? This is Marcus Reeves from Thorn Analytics. I'm calling regarding the audit scheduled for your business, Ember and Bloom. Bryn's throat went dry. Yes? I wanted to schedule our initial visit. We'll need access to your financial records, tax documents, and inventory systems. Would Thursday work for you? Thursday. 2 days away. Yes, Thursday is fine. Excellent. We'll arrive at 9 a.m. The audit typically takes 3 to 5 days, depending on the complexity of your records. I've reviewed your initial documentation and everything appears straightforward, so this should be relatively painless. Painless. Right. Will you be conducting the audit personally? Bryn asked, hating how her voice shook slightly. I'll be heading the team, yes. Though for a business of your size, it's usually just myself and one associate. Again, very straightforward. And will Mr. Thorne be involved? The question escaped before she could stop it. There was a pause. Mr. Thorne? The CEO? No, ma'am. Mr. Thorne doesn't personally conduct audits. He oversees the company, but the actual field work is handled by our team. Relief flooded through her. Of course. That makes sense. I'll see you Thursday morning, Miss Ashford. Have a good evening. After he hung up, Bryn sat in the dark office, trying to convince herself this would be okay. Marcus Reeves would conduct the audit. He'd verify her numbers. He'd file his report. Callum would never even see it. She almost believed it. Thursday morning arrived too quickly. Bryn had barely slept, running through worst-case scenarios all night. She'd arrived at the workshop at 6, making sure everything was organized and professional. At exactly 9 a.m., 2 people in business attire entered Ember and Bloom. Marcus Reeves was in his 40s, with kind eyes and an easy smile. His associate, a young woman named Jennifer, carried a laptop case and looked fresh out of college. Miss Ashford? Marcus Reeves. This is my associate, Jennifer Park. Thank you for accommodating us. Of course. Bryn shook their hands, trying to project calm competence. I have an office set up for you in the back. All my financial records are there. She led them through the workshop, acutely aware of the evidence of her life scattered throughout the space. The small bathroom, with 2 step stools for children to reach the sink. The break room calendar with A and W school pickup, marked at 3 p.m. every day. The crayon drawing on her desk from Willa, signed, I love you, Mommy, with a lopsided heart. Marcus noticed the drawing and smiled. You have children? Yes. Twins, they're 5. That must be busy. I have 3 myself. Never a dull moment. His warmth disarmed her slightly. This was just a person doing his job, not an enemy, not a threat. Let me show you the records, Bryn said. For the next 3 hours, Marcus and Jennifer reviewed documents, asked questions, and made notes. Bryn answered everything honestly, watching them study the same financial records that had kept her awake for nights. Your books are very well organized, Marcus commented. Makes our job much easier. I try to stay on top of things. It shows. Most small businesses we audit are a mess. This is refreshing. By lunchtime, Bryn started to relax. Marcus was professional, but not intrusive. He asked about business expenses, inventory costs, profit margins, nothing personal. Nothing about the twin-sized expenses woven through her records. Maybe Lennox was right. Maybe this would just be a routine audit and nothing more. At 4 p.m., Marcus packed up for the day. We'll be back tomorrow to finish up. Should have the preliminary report done by end of week. I don't see any red flags, Miss Ashford. Your business practices are solid. Thank you. After they left, Bryn called Lennox. Day 1 done. It's fine. They're just doing their job. See? I told you. You were panicking over nothing. Maybe. That night, Bryn let herself hope. Maybe the universe was giving her a break. Maybe she'd actually get through this unscathed. She should have known better. Friday afternoon, Marcus received a call on his cell while reviewing Bryn's inventory records. He stepped into the hallway to take it, his voice too quiet for Bryn to hear. When he came back, his expression had changed, more guarded. "Miss Ashford, I need to make a copy of all your financial records. My supervisor wants a secondary review." Bryn's stomach dropped. "Is there a problem?" No. Just standard procedure for certain clients. Nothing to worry about." But his tone said otherwise. That evening, 300 miles away in Houston, Callum Thorne sat in his corner office reviewing quarterly reports when his assistant knocked. "Mr. Thorne? Marcus Reeves is online too. He says it's important." Callum frowned. Marcus was one of his senior auditors, reliable and professional. He rarely called directly. "Put him through." "Mr. Thorne, I'm conducting an audit in Austin, and something came up that I thought you should be aware of." "What kind of something?" "The client is Bryn Ashford, owner of a small business called Ember and Bloom. Sir, the records show her previous name was Bryn Thorne." The room went very still. Callum's hand tightened on his phone. "Ashford." She took back her maiden name. "Yes, sir. I wouldn't normally flag this, but given your history, I thought you should know before I filed the final report." Callum's mind was racing. Bryn. After 6 years of silence, her name appearing on an audit report like a ghost from a past he tried to bury. "What's the status of the audit?" "Preliminary findings are all clean. She runs a tight ship. Financially sound, well organized. No irregularities." "I'll take over from here." "Sir, that's not necessary. The audit is nearly complete." "I said I'll take over. Send me all the files. I'll be in Austin Monday morning." There was a pause. "Yes, sir. I'll send everything over tonight." After hanging up, Callum sat in the dark office, staring at his computer screen without seeing it. Bryn. He'd thought about her over the years. Of course, he had. You don't spend 5 years married to someone and just forget they existed. But he'd assumed she'd moved on, built a new life somewhere far away from him. Apparently, she'd stayed in Texas, built a business, was successful enough to warrant an audit. Pride and old hurt warred in his chest. Pride that she'd made something of herself, hurt that she'd done it without him. His phone buzzed with an incoming email. Marcus's files. Callum opened them, scanning through the preliminary report and financial records. That's when he saw it. The patterns Marcus had missed because he didn't know to look for them. Double pediatric bills. Twin stroller purchase. Matching cribs. 2 of everything. Callum's heart started pounding. He pulled up more records, cross-referencing dates. Bright Beginnings Preschool. Tuition for 2 children, 5 years old. Birthday party expenses from 6 months ago. Receipt notation, twins' 5th birthday. The math clicked into place with devastating clarity. 5 years old, which meant born approximately 6 years ago, right around the time their divorce was finalized. Callum stood up so fast his chair rolled backward and hit the wall. His hands were shaking as he pulled up more records, looking for anything that would disprove what he was thinking. But the evidence was everywhere, undeniable, clear as day. Bryn had children, twins, 5 years old. His children, and she'd never told him. Rage and disbelief crashed over him in waves. He pulled out his phone and called his assistant. "Clear my schedule for Monday. I'm going to Austin." "For how long, sir?" "As long as it takes." That weekend was the longest of Callum's life. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just kept going over the financial records, looking at the evidence of 2 children he'd never known existed. He thought about calling Bryn, demanding answers. But something held him back. If he was wrong, if this was somehow a misunderstanding, he'd look like a fool. But if he was right, if she'd really kept his children from him for 5 years, then he wanted to see her face when she confessed it. By Monday morning, Callum's rage had crystallized into cold determination. He drove the 3 hours from Houston to Austin, pulling up in front of Ember and Bloom at 8 a.m. The shop wasn't open yet, but through the windows he could see movement. Someone was already working. He tried the door. Locked. He knocked, firm and authoritative. A young woman with purple hair appeared from the back, confusion crossing her face when she saw him. She unlocked the door. "Sorry, we don't open until 9. I'm here to see Bryn Ashford. Tell her Callum Thorne needs to speak with her immediately." The woman's eyes widened in recognition of his name. Let me, just wait here." She disappeared into the back. Callum stepped inside, taking in the space Bryn had built. It was beautiful, rustic, and warm, filled with handmade products that actually looked quality. The air smelled like herbs and honey. This was so Bryn. Creating something with her hands, building something beautiful and useful. A different version of him would have been proud. The purple-haired woman returned, her expression wary. "She'll be right out. Can I get you coffee or—" "No." Callum waited, his heart pounding harder than it had before any business deal or board presentation. This was different. This was personal. Then Bryn appeared, and the breath left his lungs. 6 years had changed her. She was thinner, sharper, like life had filed away the soft edges. Her dark hair was longer, pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore jeans and a work shirt with the Ember and Bloom logo. No makeup, no jewelry except small silver earrings. She was beautiful. Still beautiful. It made him irrationally angry. "Callum," her voice was steady, but he saw her hands shake before she clasped them together. "This is unexpected." "Is it? My company is auditing your business. Surely you knew I'd find out." "I thought Marcus was handling the audit." "He was, until he saw your name and called me." Something flickered across her face. "Fear, maybe. Good. We should talk in my office," Bryn said quietly. He followed her through the workshop, noting details. The employee schedule on the wall with Bryn, pick up A and W at 3 p.m., marked for every weekday. The photos on her desk, the small chairs in the corner. Her office was tiny but organized. She gestured to a chair, but Callum remained standing. "Why are you here?" Bryn asked, though her tone suggested she already knew. "I reviewed your financial records." He pulled out his laptop, opening the files. Very interesting reading. "My books are clean. Marcus said so himself." "Oh, they're immaculate. You've always been good with numbers." Callum turned the laptop toward her, showing the spreadsheet he'd created. "But you see, when you know what to look for, patterns emerge." Bryn paled as she saw what he'd compiled. Every twin-related expense, color-coded and categorized. Double pediatric dental appointments. His voice was quiet, dangerous. Twin stroller purchased March 2019. 2 sets of preschool tuition, same institution, same dates. He looked up, and she saw the exact moment the truth clicked into place. "Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me these aren't what I think they are." She couldn't. 6 years of carefully guarded secrets were scattered across her desk in black and white numbers that told a story she'd never wanted him to read. "How old, Bryn?" His voice cracked on her name. "How old are they?" 5. The word came out as a whisper. 5. He stepped back like she'd slapped him. 5 years. You kept my children from me for 5 years. I kept them safe from you." The words detonated between them. Callum's face went white. "Safe from me? What the hell does that mean?" "It means I left you for a reason, Callum, and that reason is exactly why I never told you about them. You had no right." "I had every right." Bryn's voice rose. "They're my children. I carried them. I gave birth to them. I raised them alone while you were busy, destroying people's lives for profit." "Destroying? That's what you think I do?" "That's what you do. The Riverside Bakery. The Johnson Hardware Store. The Martinez Family Restaurant. You bought them out, stripped their assets, and left entire families with nothing. You became exactly what you swore you'd never be." Callum's jaw clenched. "That's business, Bryn. It's not personal." "Everything is personal when children are involved. What kind of father would you have been, teaching our kids that money matters more than people? That success justifies any method? I wouldn't let them grow up with those values." "So you made yourself judge and jury? Decided I didn't deserve to even know they existed?" "Yes, because I knew you, Callum. Knew that you'd either try to take them from me using your money and lawyers, or you'd treat them like obligations that interfered with your precious business. Either way, they'd grow up knowing they weren't really wanted. You don't know that. You don't know what I would have done because you never gave me the chance. I gave you plenty of chances. I begged you to see what you were becoming, to care about the people you were hurting. You chose your company over everything, over me, over basic human decency. Why would our children be any different?" Callum slammed his hand on the desk, making Bryn jump. "They're my children, Bryn, my flesh and blood. You had no right to keep them from me." I had every right to protect them from becoming like you. The accusation hung in the air, brutal and raw. Callum's voice dropped to something cold and measured. I could take you to court. Fight for custody. I have resources you can't imagine. And there it is. Bryn's laugh was bitter. Threats and power plays. This is exactly why I never told you. Because to you, everything is a transaction. Everything can be won or taken or controlled. You think you're better than me? More moral? You lied for 5 years, kept my children secret. That's not moral, Bryn. That's cruel. I protected them. From what? From having a father? From being loved? From being pawns? From being leverage in whatever game you're playing? From learning that people are disposable and profit is all that matters? Callum stepped closer, his voice shaking with barely controlled fury. You want to talk about what I've become? Look at what you've become. A liar. Someone who kept a man from his own children out of spite. Not spite. Fear. Fear of what? Of you, Bryn's voice broke. Of the man you turned into, of what you'd do to them, to us. You'd already proven you'd sacrifice anything for success. Why would I believe our children would be any different? They stood there, 6 years of silence and hurt and anger filling the small office. Finally, Callum spoke, his voice deadly calm. I want to meet them. No. That wasn't a request. And this isn't a negotiation. They don't know you exist. I won't traumatize them by suddenly introducing their father. Then you'll explain it to them, carefully, however you need to. But Bryn, I'm going to meet my children. You can facilitate that willingly, or I can go to court and let a judge decide. Your choice. Bryn felt trapped, cornered, every fear she'd had for 6 years coming true. If I agree to this, there are conditions. You're not in a position to make demands. Yes, I am, because I'm their mother, and I know what's best for them. You want access? You do it my way, slowly, carefully, on my terms. Callum's eyes narrowed. What terms? First, we tell them together. Age appropriately. No accusations, no blame, just facts. Agreed. Second, initial meetings are supervised. Public places, short visits until they're comfortable. For how long? As long as it takes. These are 5-year-olds, Callum. They need time to process. He wanted to argue. She could see it. But he nodded. Fine. What else? Third, you don't use your lawyers or your money to intimidate me. This isn't a business deal. This is our children's lives. I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm trying to meet my kids. Are you? Or are you trying to punish me for keeping them secret? The question hit harder than she'd intended. Callum's expression flickered with something that might have been guilt. Both, he admitted quietly. I want to meet them. And yes, I'm furious at you. Those things can coexist. As long as the fury doesn't touch them. As long as you keep your anger at me separate from your relationship with them. I would never hurt them. You'd better not. Because Callum, if you do anything to make them feel unwanted or uncomfortable, I will cut you out of their lives, so fast your head will spin. Legal threats or not. Understood. He paused. What are their names? The question, simple and human, caught Bryn off guard. Asher and Willa. Asher is the boy. Willa is the girl. Asher and Willa, he repeated, like he was testing the words. Tell me about them. Why? Because they're my children, and I know nothing about them. Please, Bryn, just tell me about them. The please undid something in her. She sank into her desk chair, suddenly exhausted. Asher he's brilliant. Loves building things, taking things apart to understand how they work. He's cautious, thoughtful, thinks everything through before acting. Like me, Callum said softly. Like you used to be, before you stopped thinking about consequences. He flinched, but didn't argue. Willa is my wild child. All creativity and emotion and big feelings. She loves art, music, dancing, sees magic in everything. She's fearless in ways that terrify me. Like you. Maybe. They balance each other out. Asher keeps Willa grounded. Willa keeps Asher from being too serious. Do they look like us? Bryn pulled out her phone, hesitating before showing him the lock screen. A photo from their birthdays 6 months ago. 2 5-year-olds with cake-covered faces, laughing at something off camera. Callum took the phone like it was made of glass. His hands shook as he studied the image. Asher had his dark hair and serious eyes. Willa had Bryn's bone structure but his smile. "They're beautiful," he whispered. "They are. I missed everything. First steps. First words. 5 birthdays. Yes. Did you think about telling me? Ever?" Bryn considered lying, then decided he deserved at least this much truth. "Every day. For the first year, I picked up the phone constantly, almost called you 100 times. Why didn't you?" "Because I'd seen news about your company. Another acquisition, another family business destroyed, and I'd remember why I left. Remember that the man I loved didn't exist anymore. I'm still here, Bryn." "Are you?" "Because the Callum I married would never have threatened to take children from their mother, would never have used an audit as leverage, would never have valued profit over people. Maybe I changed. People do. Into what? Someone worse? Maybe into someone who finally understands what he lost." The words hung between them, loaded with meaning neither wanted to examine. Bryn's phone buzzed. A text from her assistant. "Everything okay?" Heard shouting. "I need to get back to work," Bryn said. "My employees are worried." "When can I meet them?" "Asher and Willa." "I need time to prepare them. This isn't something I can just spring on 5-year-olds. "How much time?" "A few days. Maybe a week." "A week is too long." "Callum, they don't even know you exist. I need to explain carefully. Help them understand. Then start explaining. Because every day you delay is another day I'm missing with my children." "Our children," Bryn corrected. "And I'm not delaying. I'm being a responsible parent. Something you'd understand if you'd been here for the past 5 years." The barb hit its mark. Callum's jaw tightened. 3 days, he said. "You have 3 days to prepare them. Then I meet my kids." "Or what?" "Or I file for emergency custody, and we let the court sort it out." Bryn stood up, meeting his eyes. "You wouldn't." "Try me." They stared at each other, the air thick with old hurt and current fury. Finally, Bryn broke eye contact. "Fine. 3 days. But we do this my way. Gentle, careful, putting them first." "Agreed. I'll call you when I'm ready." "You don't have my number anymore." "I'm sure I can find it. You're all over the internet. Successful CEO, ruthless businessman, engaged to that corporate lawyer. Congratulations, by the way." "What?" "On your engagement. To Sloane Hartley." I saw the announcement. Callum had forgotten about Sloane. Their arrangement had been practical, beneficial to both their careers. Not love, just compatibility. Looking at Bryn now, seeing the mother of his children, he felt the engagement like a weight around his neck. "That's separate from this." "Is it? Because I'm sure she'll have opinions about you suddenly having 5-year-old twins." "Sloane and I have an understanding." "How lovely for you. An understanding. While I was raising your children alone." "That was your choice." "Because you gave me no other option." They were shouting again. Somewhere in the building, Bryn's employees were definitely listening. 3 days, Bryn. Then I meet Asher and Willa, with or without your cooperation." He turned and walked out, leaving Bryn standing in her small office, surrounded by evidence of the life she'd built and the secret that had finally exploded. After he left, Lennox rushed in. "What the hell was that? Are you okay?" "He knows." Bryn's voice was hollow. "He figured it out from the financial records." "Oh my God. He wants to meet them, threatened to take me to court if I don't agree." "Can he do that?" "He's Callum Thorne. He can do anything." Bryn sank back into her chair, her hands shaking. "I have 3 days to figure out how to tell my 5-year-olds that the father they've never met wants to be part of their lives. How do I even start that conversation? With the truth, age-appropriate, but honest. The truth is I kept them from him because I was scared. How do I explain that to children? You tell them you made the choice you thought was best at the time, that you were protecting them. Was I? Or was I protecting myself from having to face him, from having to share them? Bryn, don't do this. Don't second-guess 6 years of choices in one afternoon. He's right, though. I had no right to keep them from him. He's their father. He deserved to know. He was a different person when you left. You said so yourself. But what if I was wrong? What if he would have changed for them? What if I stole 5 years he could have had with his children because I was too scared to give him a chance? Or what if you protected 2 innocent kids from being hurt by someone who'd already proven he valued profit over people? Bryn, You made the best decision you could with the information you had. It doesn't feel like it right now. Lennox hugged her tightly. 3 days. We'll figure out what to say, how to prepare them. You're not alone in this. But as Bryn sat in her office, staring at the financial records that had betrayed her secret, she'd never felt more alone. That evening, she sat at dinner with Asher and Willa, watching them eat macaroni and cheese and chatter about their day at kindergarten. They were so innocent, so happy, so completely unaware that their world was about to change. "Mommy, you're not eating," Willa observed. "I'm not very hungry, sweetheart." "Are you sick?" Asher asked with concern. "No, baby. Just thinking about grown-up things." "What kind of grown-up things?" Willa pressed. Bryn looked at her children, her beautiful, perfect children who deserved better than the situation she'd created. "Actually, I need to talk to you both about something important. Can we sit in the living room?" They settled on the couch, Asher and Willa on either side of her. Two small bodies pressed against hers, trusting and open. "Remember how we've talked about how some families are different? How some kids have a mommy and daddy, and some have just a mommy or just a daddy. And some have two mommies or two daddies," Asher added. "Like Jacob in our class." "Exactly. Every family is different, and that's okay." "We have just you," Willa said matter-of-factly. "You do, but you also have a daddy. You've always had a daddy. He hasn't been able to be part of our family." Asher's eyes narrowed with that analytical focus he got when processing new information. "Why not?" "Because when I found out I was going to have you both, your daddy and I weren't together anymore. And I made a choice not to tell him." "Why?" Willa's voice was small. "Because I was scared. I thought it was better for you to just have me. That it would be too complicated to have your daddy involved." "Was that the right choice?" Asher asked. God, her son and his need for logic and reason. "I thought it was at the time, but now I'm not sure. Grown-ups make mistakes too, baby. We do our best, but sometimes our best isn't perfect." "So we have a daddy somewhere?" Willa's eyes were wide. "You do. And he found out about you recently, and he wants to meet you." Silence, both children processing this revelation in their own ways. Finally, Asher spoke. "Where is he?" "He lives in Houston, but he came here to Austin because he really wants to meet you both." "What's his name?" Willa asked. Callum Thorne." "That's a cool name," Willa decided. "Does he know about me?" Asher asked. Does he know I like building things?" "Not yet, but he wants to learn everything about you. Both of you." "Why now?" Asher's question was pointed. "If he didn't know about us before, what changed?" Bryn took a breath. "He found out by accident, through his work, and as soon as he knew, he wanted to meet you." "Is he nice?" Willa asked. "He can be. But sweetie, this is going to be new for all of us. He doesn't know you yet, and you don't know him. It might feel weird at first." "I'm good at meeting new people," Willa announced. "I make friends at the park all the time." "I know you do, sweetheart." "What if I don't like him?" Asher asked quietly. Bryn pulled him close. "Then we'll deal with that. But I think you should give him a chance. He's your daddy, and he really wants to know you." "Do you like him?" Willa asked. The question was innocent, but it hit like a truck. "I used to. A long time ago. We were married." "Like married." Willa's eyes went huge. "You were a bride?" "I was. But sometimes grown-ups who get married decide they're better as friends. Or in our case, we decided we were too different to stay married." "But you made us together," Asher said, still working through the logic. "We did. Before we stopped being married. And that means you have a connection to him, even though you've never met." "When do we meet him?" Willa asked. "In a few days. If you want to." "I want to." Willa bounced with excitement. "I want to meet our daddy." Asher was more reserved. "Will you be there? When we meet him?" "Of course, baby. I'll be right there the whole time." "Okay, then I guess it's okay." That night, after putting them to bed, Bryn called Callum from the number on his business card. He answered on the first ring. "Bryn, I told them about you." "How did they take it?" Willa is excited. Asher is cautious but willing. "They want to meet you." She heard him exhale, like he'd been holding his breath. "Thank you." "Don't thank me. I should have done this 5 years ago." "But you're doing it now. That counts for something." Saturday. There's a park near my house. We can meet there. Neutral, public. Lots of space if anyone needs a break. What time? 10 a.m. And Callum? Don't be late. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't hurt them. I won't. You'd better not. Because if you do, custody threats or not, I will make sure you regret it. I know. Bryn, what are they like? I mean, beyond what you told me. What do they love? What are they afraid of? What makes them laugh? The questions were so unexpected, so genuinely curious, that Bryn felt her defenses crack slightly. Asher loves Legos, building sets, following instructions precisely. He gets upset if pieces are missing. He's afraid of the dark and thunderstorms. He laughs at science jokes and bad puns. And Willa? Willa loves anything artistic. Painting, drawing, dancing. She's afraid of being alone and being left out. She laughs at everything, especially her own jokes, which are usually terrible. They sound amazing. They are. And Callum, if you hurt them, if you make them feel like an obligation or a burden, I will never forgive you. I won't hurt them, I promise. After hanging up, Bryn sat in her dark living room, wondering if she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life or finally done the right thing. Only time would tell. Saturday morning arrived with the kind of perfect Austin weather that made living in Texas bearable. Clear blue sky, temperature in the mid-70s. A gentle breeze carrying the scent of live oaks and wildflowers. Bryn had been awake since 5 a.m., running through every possible scenario in her mind. What if Callum was late? What if the twins hated him? What if he said something wrong and traumatized them? What if this was the beginning of losing them? Mommy, you're making pancakes wrong. Willa observed from her seat at the kitchen table. You usually make them round. Those are blob-shaped. Bryn looked down at the misshapen pancakes sizzling on the griddle. Her daughter was right. They looked like abstract art. Sorry, sweetheart. Mommy's distracted this morning. Because we're meeting Daddy today? Asher asked, his tone carefully neutral. Yes. Are you nervous? Willa asked. A little bit. Are you? I'm excited. Willa kicked her feet under the table. I wore my favorite dress. The purple one with the flowers. Do you think he'll like it? I think he'll love it. What if he doesn't like me? Asher's voice was small, uncertain in a way that broke Bryn's heart. She abandoned the pancakes and knelt beside his chair. Asher, baby, he's going to love you. How could he not? You're smart and kind and funny. You're perfect exactly as you are. But what if I'm not what he wanted? What if he wanted different kids? That's not how it works, sweetheart. You don't get to choose your kids. They're just who they are, and you are exactly who you're supposed to be. Okay. But he didn't sound convinced. At 9:30, they piled into Bryn's aging Honda. The park was only 10 minutes away, but Bryn drove slowly, trying to extend the time before everything changed. The Zilker Park playground was already busy with families. Children shrieked on swings, parents pushed strollers, dogs chased tennis balls in the open fields. Normal Saturday morning chaos. Bryn found a bench with a good view of the playground, settling the twins on either side of her. Asher had brought a small Lego set. Willa had her sketchbook, both their security items. He'll be here at 10, Bryn said, checking her phone. 9:45. What does he look like? Willa asked. Do we look like him? You both have his eyes. And Asher, you have his hair color. Willa, you have his smile. What about you? Asher asked. What do we have from you? Willa has my bone structure, and you have my tendency to overthink everything. I don't overthink, Asher protested. I just think thoroughly. Exactly. At 9:55, a black SUV pulled into the parking lot. Bryn's heart jumped into her throat as Callum climbed out. He dressed casually for him. Dark jeans, a button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up, no tie. He looked nervous, she realized. Callum Thorne, who negotiated million-dollar deals without breaking a sweat, looked terrified. He spotted them and started walking over. Bryn felt the twins tense on either side of her. That's him, she said quietly. That's your daddy. Willa grabbed her hand tightly. Asher pressed closer against her side. Callum approached slowly, like they were wild animals that might spook. When he reached the bench, he stopped a respectful distance away. Hi, he said, his voice softer than Bryn had ever heard it. Hi, Willa whispered back. You must be Willa. And you must be Asher. He knelt down to their eye level, making himself smaller, less intimidating. I'm Callum. It's so nice to finally meet you both. You're really tall, Willa observed. I am. You'll probably be tall too when you grow up. I want to be tall. Mommy says I'll probably be tall like her sister. Your Aunt Jenna is tall, Bryn confirmed, grateful for the mundane conversation. Callum's eyes met Bryn's briefly, a question in them. She gave a tiny nod. So far, so good. I like your dress, Callum told Willa. Purple is a great color. It's my favorite. Do you have a favorite color? I never really thought about it. Maybe blue? That's boring, Willa announced. Then, realizing what she'd said, clapped her hand over her mouth. Sorry. Mommy says I shouldn't call things boring. It's okay. You're right. Blue is kind of boring. Maybe I should pick a better favorite color. You could pick purple. It's the best. Purple it is then. Asher had been watching this exchange silently, his small face serious and analytical. Are you really our father? The question, direct and challenging, made Callum pause. I am. Biologically, yes. But I know that being a father is more than biology. It's about being there, showing up, earning the right to be called dad. I haven't done that yet. Why not? Asher's tone was accusing. If you're our father, why weren't you here before? Bryn started to intervene, but Callum held up a hand gently. That's a fair question. The honest answer is I didn't know you existed. Your mom and I weren't together anymore when she found out she was going to have you both. She made a choice not to tell me. Why would she do that? Willa asked, confusion in her voice. Because she was protecting you, she thought, and she might have been right, that I wouldn't be a very good father, that I was too focused on work and not enough on what really matters. And now, Asher pressed. Now I want to try. If you'll let me, I want to get to know you. Learn what you like, what you're afraid of, what makes you laugh. I want to be part of your lives, however that looks. What if we don't want you to be? Asher asked. The question hurt. Bryn could see it on Callum's face. But he answered honestly. Then I'll be sad, but I'll respect that. You get to choose, Asher. Both of you do. I'm here because I want to know you. But it has to be something you want too. Asher considered this, his small forehead wrinkled in thought. Finally, he said, I guess you can stay. For now. I'll take it, Callum said with a small smile. Do you want to see my sketchbook? Willa asked, already pulling it out. I draw lots of things. Mostly unicorns and rainbows, but also sometimes dragons. I would love to see your drawings. For the next hour, they sat on that bench while Willa showed Callum every single drawing in her sketchbook, providing detailed commentary on each one. Callum listened with what appeared to be genuine interest, asking questions, making appropriate impressed noises. Asher remained more reserved, watching carefully, evaluating the stranger who claimed to be their father. Do you want to play on the playground? Bryn suggested eventually. Maybe your dad could push you on the swings? Can you push us high? Willa asked Callum. Like, really high? I can try. How high do you like to go? As high as possible. Mommy gets scared and won't push us very high. I don't get scared, Bryn protested. I just don't want you flying off and breaking something. That's called being scared, Willa informed her matter-of-factly. Callum laughed, a genuine sound that made something in Bryn's chest ache. She remembered that laugh. It had been years since she'd heard it. At the swings, Callum pushed Willa while Asher climbed on the monkey bars nearby. Bryn watched from a bench, her emotions a complicated tangle. He was good with them, patient, attentive, present in a way she hadn't expected. Higher, Willa shrieked with joy. Higher? Are you sure? You're already pretty high. I'm sure. I'm not scared. Callum pushed her higher, and Willa's laughter rang out across the playground. Pure, unself-conscious delight. Mom, watch this, Asher called from the monkey bars. He was hanging from one bar, preparing to swing to the next. Both Bryn and Callum turned to watch. Asher successfully made the swing, then another, crossing the entire length of the bars. That was amazing, Callum called. How long have you been able to do that? A few weeks. I've been practicing. Asher's voice held pride. It shows. You're really strong. The simple praise made Asher smile, a real smile that reached his eyes. They spent 2 hours at the park. Playing, talking, slowly getting to know each other. Callum was patient when Willa insisted on showing him every piece of equipment. He was interested when Asher explained the structural integrity of the climbing dome. He was present in a way Bryn had rarely seen him, even during their marriage. Finally, around noon, the twins were showing signs of hunger and fatigue. "We should probably head home for lunch," Bryn said. "Can Daddy come?" Willa asked immediately. Bryn looked at Callum, uncertain. They'd agreed on park meetings. Public, limited time. Inviting him to their home was a bigger step. "If it's okay with your mom," Callum said carefully. "I don't know, sweetie. Your dad probably has other things to do." "Please?" Willa's eyes went wide and pleading. "I want to show him my room, and my toys, and Mr. Whiskers." "Who's Mr. Whiskers?" Callum asked. "Our hamster," Asher explained. "He's very fat and sleeps most of the day." "I would love to meet Mr. Whiskers," Callum said, then looked at Bryn. "If that's okay." She wanted to say no, wanted to maintain boundaries, keep him at arm's length, but looking at her children's hopeful faces, she couldn't. "Okay, but just for lunch." "Just for lunch," Callum agreed. The drive back to Bryn's house was surreal. Callum followed in his SUV while the twins chattered excitedly in the back seat about what they wanted to show him. Bryn's house was small, a two-bedroom bungalow in a neighborhood that was gentrifying but not quite there yet. The yard needed work. The paint was peeling slightly. But it was theirs, paid for with money she'd earned, and she loved it. Callum parked behind her in the driveway, and she tried to see the house through his eyes. Modest, working class, nothing like the penthouse they'd shared during their marriage. "It's perfect," he said quietly, like he knew what she was thinking. Inside, the twins immediately dragged him on a tour. Their shared bedroom with its bunk beds and explosion of toys. The bathroom with their step stools and Finding Nemo shower curtain. The living room with its second-hand furniture and wall of family photos. Callum studied the photos with intense focus. The twins as babies, first birthdays, Halloween costumes, Christmas mornings, 5 years of milestones he'd missed. "This is you at the hospital?" he asked, pointing to a photo of Bryn holding 2 tiny newborns, exhaustion and joy written across her face. "Right after they were born. My friend Lennox took that photo." "You did this alone?" "I had help. Lennox, my mom flew down for a month, some friends from work." "But not me." "No, not you." He looked like he wanted to say more, but Willa tugged his hand. "Come see Mr. Whiskers, he's in my room." The hamster was indeed fat and sleepy. Callum admired him appropriately, while Willa explained his complex personality and dietary preferences. In the kitchen, Bryn made grilled cheese sandwiches while listening to the sounds of her children's laughter mixing with Callum's deeper voice. It felt surreal, domestic, like a glimpse of a life that could have been. Over lunch, Asher asked the questions he'd clearly been saving up. "What do you do for work?" "I run a company that helps other companies with their finances and business operations." "Is it fun?" Callum paused, considering. "Sometimes, but I think I've been doing it wrong. Focusing on the wrong things." "What things?" "Making money instead of helping people." "Money is important though," Asher said seriously. "You need it to buy things." "You do. But it shouldn't be the most important thing. People should be the most important thing." "Is that why Mommy left you?" The question was innocent but devastating. "Because you thought money was more important than people?" Callum's eyes met Bryn's across the table. "Yes, that's exactly why." "Did you love Mommy?" "Very much." "Do you still love her?" "Asher," Bryn interrupted. "That's a very personal question. But I want to know, if you loved each other, why did you stop being married?" Callum answered carefully. "Sometimes people who love each other aren't good together. They want different things, or they've become different people. Your mom and I loved each other, but we couldn't agree on what was important in life." "And now?" Willa asked. "Are you still different people?" "I don't know," Callum admitted. "I think I'm trying to be a better person than I was. Whether that's different enough, only time will tell." After lunch, the twins wanted to show Callum their favorite movie, some animated thing about talking animals that Bryn had seen approximately 5,000 times. They settled on the couch, Willa immediately curling up against Callum's side like she'd been doing it her whole life. Asher sat a bit apart, still maintaining some distance, but he was there. Bryn watched from the doorway as her children and their father watched a movie together, and felt her carefully constructed walls beginning to crack. Halfway through the movie, Willa fell asleep against Callum's shoulder. He looked down at her with an expression of such wonder and tenderness that Bryn had to look away. When the movie ended, Asher announced he was going to his room to work on his Legos. Callum carefully shifted Willa so she was lying on the couch, covering her with a blanket. She crashes hard after playing at the park, Bryn explained quietly. She'll sleep for an hour, then wake up like nothing happened. She's incredible. They both are. I know. They stood there awkwardly in her small living room, the sleeping child between them, 6 years of history pressing down. Thank you, Callum said finally, for today, for letting me meet them. I should have done it years ago. Maybe. Or maybe the timing is right now. I don't know if I was ready to be their father 5 years ago. I'm not sure I'm ready now, but I want to try. Wanting and doing are different things, Callum. I know, which is why I need to show you, not just tell you. Actions, not words. What does that mean? It means I'm not going back to Houston today. I'm staying in Austin, for however long it takes. Bryn's eyes widened. You can't just move here. You have a company to run. A fiancé. The company can run without me being physically present. And as for Sloan, we need to talk anyway. About what? About the fact that I have 5-year-old twins I never knew about. About the fact that my priorities are changing. About a lot of things. She's not going to like that. Probably not. But Bryn, I missed 5 years. I'm not missing any more. If that means restructuring my life, that's what I'll do. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't make changes you'll resent later. I won't. You don't know that. 6 months from now, when the novelty wears off, when being a parent is hard and boring and repetitive, you might regret this. Then I'll deal with it 6 months from now. But right now, today, I'm choosing to be here. For Asher and Willa, for us. There is no us. Maybe not romantically, but we're their parents. That makes us something. Before Bryn could respond, Willa stirred on the couch, blinking sleepily. Is Daddy still here? I'm here, sweetheart, Callum said, kneeling beside the couch. Good. I thought maybe I dreamed you. Not a dream. I'm real. Will you come back? To visit us again? Callum looked at Bryn, waiting for permission. She sighed. Your dad can visit whenever he wants, as long as he gives us a little notice. Tomorrow? Willa asked hopefully. Maybe not tomorrow, Bryn said. Your dad has things to do. But soon. How soon? Very soon, Callum promised. That evening, after Callum left and the twins were in bed, Bryn sat on her back porch with a glass of wine, processing the day. Her phone rang. Lennox. So, how did it go? Better than expected. Worse than expected. I don't even know. What does that mean? It means he was good with them. Really good. Patient and present and interested. Everything I hoped he wouldn't be. Why would you hope he wouldn't be good with them? Because if he's terrible, I can keep him at a distance. I can justify keeping them secret for so long. But if he's actually trying, if he's actually changing, then I have to admit I was wrong. That I stole 5 years from all of them. Or you protected 2 kids from a man who might have hurt them. Both can be true, Bryn. Can they? Because right now, it just feels like I made a selfish choice that I justified as protection. Stop. You made the choice that felt right at the time. That's all any of us can do. Lennox, he's staying in Austin. He said he's not going back to Houston, that he's restructuring his life. Wow. That's actually huge. What if he's serious? What if he really commits to this? Would that be so bad? It would change everything. Maybe everything needs to change. After hanging up, Bryn sat in the dark, wondering if she was ready for her life to be turned upside down again. Meanwhile, 3 miles away in a hotel room, Callum was having a very different conversation. You're doing what? Sloane's voice came through the phone sharp and disbelieving. I'm staying in Austin. Indefinitely. My children are here. Your alleged children, you mean? Have you even done a paternity test? I don't need one. They're mine. You can see it just by looking at them. Callum, be reasonable. You can't just upend your entire life because your ex-wife suddenly claims you have children. She didn't claim anything. I discovered them through the audit. Which is convenient for her, isn't it? Now she has access to your money. This isn't about money. This is about my kids. Kids you've known about for what? A week? You're making major life decisions based on 1 week of information? I'm making decisions based on the fact that I'm a father, that I have responsibilities. Responsibilities to whom? To a woman who kept these children secret for 5 years? Who made you miss their entire early childhood? To Asher and Willa. To my children who deserve to have their father in their lives. There was a long pause. When Sloane spoke again, her voice was calculated. What does this mean for us? I don't know. You don't know? We're engaged, Callum. We have a wedding planned for next spring. I know, and I'm sorry, but Sloane, this changes things. I can't pretend it doesn't. So what are you saying? You're calling off the engagement? I'm saying I need time to figure out what being a father means, what kind of life I want to build, and where do I fit in that life? I don't know that either. Another pause. I see. Well, Callum, let me make this easier for you. I'm not interested in being a stepmother to someone else's children. I'm not interested in playing second fiddle to your sudden burst of paternal instinct. So here's what's going to happen. You have 1 week to figure out what you want. Your old life, with me and the company, and everything we've built, or this new fantasy where you play daddy to kids who don't even know you. Sloane. 1 week, Callum. Then I'm done waiting. She hung up. Callum sat on the hotel bed, staring at his phone. A week ago, his life had been ordered, controlled, predictable. Now everything was chaos. But thinking about Willa's laugh, Asher's careful questions, the way they'd both started to trust him just a little, he knew what his choice would be. The next morning was Sunday. Callum texted Bryn. Can I take them to breakfast? Just the 3 of us? Bryn stared at the message for a long time before responding. They've only met you once. I know, but they seemed comfortable yesterday. I promise I'll be careful. She wanted to say no, wanted to maintain control, but she'd made a promise to herself to let him build a relationship with the twins. Okay, but I'm calling to check in. Fair enough. An hour later, Callum picked up Asher and Willa from Bryn's house. She watched from the doorway as he buckled them into car seats he'd apparently bought and installed in his SUV overnight. We'll be back in 2 hours, Callum promised. Call me if there are any problems. We'll be fine, Mommy, Willa assured her. We're just going to get pancakes. After they left, Bryn paced her empty house, checking her phone every 5 minutes. At the IHOP, Callum helped the twins order, laughing when Willa insisted on chocolate chip pancakes with extra whipped cream. Mommy doesn't let us have that much sugar, Asher observed. Well, sometimes dads let you break the rules. But don't tell your mom. That's called lying, Asher said seriously. You're right. Okay, we'll tell your mom about the extra whipped cream, but maybe after you've eaten it. While they ate, Callum asked questions. About school, their friends, their favorite things. What do you want to be when you grow up? He asked Asher. An engineer. I like building things and figuring out how they work. That's a great choice. I wanted to be an engineer too when I was your age. Really? But you do business stuff. I do now. But I started in engineering. Maybe we could build something together sometime, like a robot or a bridge model. Asher's eyes lit up. Really? Really? If your mom says it's okay. What about me? Willa asked. I don't want to build things. What do you want to do? I want to be an artist, or a dancer, or maybe a princess. Those are all excellent choices, especially princess. That's a very practical career goal. Willa giggled. You're funny. I try. After breakfast, they went to a toy store. Callum had asked Bryn's permission via text, and she'd reluctantly agreed as long as he didn't go overboard. You can each pick one thing, he told them. Anything you want. Asher studied the Lego aisle with the same serious focus he applied to everything. Finally, he chose a complex space station set. This one. Willa spent 20 minutes agonizing over dolls before selecting a set of art supplies. I want to draw better pictures. To show you. The simple statement hit Callum right in the chest. She wanted to make art for him, to impress him. I already think your pictures are amazing, but these will help you make even more amazing ones. On the drive back to Bryn's house, Willa chattered while Asher examined his Lego set box, reading the instructions through the cellophane. Daddy? Willa's voice was thoughtful. Yes, sweetheart? Do you have other kids, besides us? No, just you two. So we're special? The most special kids in the entire world. Mommy says that too. Well, she's right. When they arrived back home, Bryn met them at the door, relief evident on her face. We had pancakes with extra whipped cream, Willa announced immediately. And Daddy said not to tell you, but Asher said that was lying, so I'm telling you. Callum winced. In my defense, I corrected that immediately. I see you went to the toy store. One thing each, as discussed. Daddy's going to help me build my Lego set, Asher said. Can he come inside? Bryn looked at Callum, seeing the hope in his eyes, and sighed. For a little while. That became the pattern over the next few weeks. Callum would visit every day. Sometimes he'd take them out. Sometimes he'd come to the house. Slowly, carefully, he built a relationship with his children. He learned that Asher needed time to warm up to new things, but was fiercely loyal once he trusted you. That Willa's feelings were big and overwhelming, but passed quickly. That both of them loved stories before bed and hugs that lasted exactly 7 seconds. He was there when Asher had a nightmare and needed comfort. When Willa fell at the playground and scraped her knee. For homework struggles and playground triumphs and the 1,000 small moments that made up childhood. And somewhere in those weeks, Bryn started to soften. If you're watching this and wondering whether people can really change, whether second chances are worth the risk, drop a comment below. Have you ever seen someone truly transform? I read every single comment. One evening, about a month after that first park meeting, Bryn answered a knock on her door to find Callum looking nervous. The twins are asleep? Just went down. Why? I wanted to talk to you. About something important. She let him in, settling on the couch while he paced her living room. I've been doing a lot of thinking, he started. About my company. About the business practices I've been using. Okay. You were right. About the Riverside Bakery, the Johnson hardware, all of it. I destroyed families' livelihoods for profit. Told myself it was just business, that sentiment didn't matter. What changed? Meeting Asher and Willa changed. Seeing what you built with Ember and Bloom changed. Understanding that every business I destroyed was someone's dream, someone's livelihood, someone's legacy. So what are you going to do? I restructured Thorn Analytics. Completely. We no longer do hostile acquisitions. Instead, we consult for small businesses, help them succeed rather than consuming them. Bryn stared at him. That's a huge change. What did your board say? They said I was making a mistake. That it wasn't profitable. I told them profit wasn't everything and stepped down as CEO. You what? I'm still majority owner, still on the board. But day-to-day operations, someone else's problem. I want to be here, with Asher and Willa, building something that actually matters. Callum, you can't just blow up your career for them. What happens in 6 months when you resent us for it? I won't resent you. This isn't about obligation, Bryn. It's about priorities. For years, I prioritized the wrong things, made money and success the goal instead of the means. Became someone I'm not proud of. And now? Now I'm trying to be someone my children can be proud of. Someone who values people over profit. Someone worthy of being their father. Bryn felt tears threatening. What about Sloane? We ended the engagement. She gave me an ultimatum, my old life or this new one. It wasn't even a difficult choice. She's going to hate you. She already does, but that's okay. She wanted a version of me that doesn't exist anymore. And what version do you want to be? He sat down beside her, close but not touching. I want to be the version who shows up for his kids, who doesn't miss school plays or soccer games or bedtime stories, who teaches them that people matter more than money, that kindness is more important than success. That's a very different version than who you were. I know. Is it too different? Too late? I don't know. Bryn admitted. A month ago I would have said yes. But watching you with them, seeing how you've shown up every single day, how you've put them first, I don't know anymore. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know what I became, how I hurt you. But I'm asking for a chance. To prove I've changed, to be the partner you deserved back then. We're not talking about partnership. We're talking about co-parenting. Right. Of course. Co-parenting. But the way he looked at her suggested he was thinking about more. Before Bryn could respond, her phone rang. The school. At 8 p.m. Miss Ashford, this is Principal Chin from Zilker Elementary. I'm calling about Asher. Bryn's heart stopped. What happened? Is he okay? He's fine, physically. But there was an incident today I thought you should know about. Some other children were teasing him about not having a father. He got quite upset. Oh God, I'll talk to him. There's more. He told them he does have a father, that his daddy just didn't know about him before. The other kids didn't believe him, and it escalated. We've handled it, but I wanted you to be aware. After hanging up, Bryn looked at Callum. He's being teased at school about not having a dad. What? Some kid said something and he defended himself, said you just didn't know about him before. But they didn't believe him, and it upset him. Callum's face hardened with protective anger. Where's he? Asleep. He didn't mention it when I picked him up. Can I talk to him? Tomorrow? About what? About being his dad. About making sure everyone knows he has a father who cares about him. The next morning, Callum arrived early. Asher was eating cereal when he walked in. Hey buddy, can we talk? Asher looked up warily. Am I in trouble? No, the opposite. Your principal called your mom about what happened at school. Asher's face fell. I didn't start it. They said I was lying about having a dad, and I told them I wasn't lying, and then they said mean things, and I maybe yelled a little. You weren't lying. You do have a dad. Me. And I'm so sorry that other kids made you feel bad about that. They said you probably don't even like us. That you probably wish we didn't exist. Callum knelt in front of Asher's chair. That is absolutely not true. You and Willa are the best thing in my life. I'm so proud to be your dad. Really? Really? And I was thinking, maybe we could make it more official. What does that mean? Callum pulled out a small box. Inside were 2 necklaces, simple chains with small pendants. One said Asher, and one said Willa. These are for you and your sister, so you always have a reminder that I'm here. That I'm your dad and I'm not going anywhere. Asher touched the necklace gently. Can I wear it to school? That's the idea. And if anyone asks, you can tell them your dad gave it to you. What about you? Do you have one? Callum pulled out a 3rd necklace. This one with a pendant that said, Dad. Mine says Dad. So we match. Asher threw his arms around Callum's neck. I love it. Thank you. I love you, buddy. Don't ever forget that. When Willa woke up and received her matching necklace, she insisted on wearing it immediately, over her pajamas. Bryn watched this scene from the kitchen doorway, her emotions overwhelming. He was doing it, actually doing it, being the father they needed. Later, after Callum took the twins to school, personally walking them to their classroom and introducing himself to their teacher as Asher and Willa's dad, he returned to find Bryn still in her kitchen, crying. Hey, what's wrong? Nothing, everything. I don't know. She wiped her eyes. You got them necklaces. Too much? No. Perfect. They love them. It's just, you're really doing this. Being their dad. And I don't know how to process that. Why do you need to process it? Because for 5 years, I've been everything to them. Mom, dad, provider, protector. And now you're here and you're good at this, and I don't know where I fit anymore. Callum stepped closer. You're their mother. Nothing changes that. I'm not trying to replace you or push you out. I'm trying to add to what you've already built. What if you're better at this than me? What if they start preferring you? Bryn, I buy their love with pancakes and extra whipped cream. You've been there every day for 5 years. Making sacrifices, putting them first, building a life for them. There's no competition here. It feels like there is. Then let me be clear. You're an incredible mother, the best. What you've done, raising them alone while building your business, it's extraordinary. I'm in awe of you. Don't say things you don't mean. I mean every word. Bryn, I'm falling in love with our children, but I never stop being in love with you. The confession hung in the air between them. Don't, Bryn whispered. Don't do this. Why not? Because we tried. We failed. We hurt each other. We were different people then, younger, more selfish. At least I was. What if we're still those people? What if this only works because of the kids and without that we fall apart again? Then we'll deal with it. But Bryn, I think we owe it to ourselves to try. Not for the kids. For us. I can't. It's too risky. Everything worth having is risky. I have 2 5-year-olds to think about. I can't take risks that might hurt them. What if the risk is worth it? What if we could be a real family? Before Bryn could answer, her phone rang. The shop, an emergency with a shipment. I have to go. Work crisis. Can we talk about this later? There's nothing to talk about. We're co-parents, Callum. That's all. But as she drove to work, her hand shaking on the wheel, she knew she was lying to herself. 2 months after that first park meeting, Bryn's business faced a crisis. A major supplier had suddenly gone bankrupt, leaving her without key ingredients for her holiday production run. She was 3 weeks from her busiest season and completely stuck. She was in her workshop at midnight, trying to find alternative suppliers, when Callum walked in. Lennox told me what happened. She's worried about you. I'm fine, just need to solve this problem. Can I help? Unless you have a magic supplier of organic shea butter and essential oils, no. Callum pulled up a chair. What if I do? What? Thorne Analytics now consults for small businesses, including helping them find suppliers and negotiate contracts. Let me make some calls. Callum, I can handle this. I know you can, but you don't have to handle it alone anymore. By morning, Callum had connected her with 3 potential suppliers, negotiated better rates than her previous contract, and arranged expedited shipping. How did you do this? Bryn asked, stunned. I called in some favors. Made it clear that Ember and Bloom was important to me personally. People were surprisingly helpful. I don't know what to say. Say, you'll let me help, not just with emergencies. With the business, I have expertise you could use. I don't want charity. This isn't charity. This is partnership. Let me consult for you. Review your expansion plans, help you scale sustainably. For pay, if that makes you more comfortable. Why would you do this? Because you built something beautiful. Something that helps people and supports the community. I want to be part of that. I want to help it grow. Over the next few weeks, Callum did exactly that. He reviewed her business model, identified opportunities, helped her negotiate better terms with retailers. Ember and Bloom started thriving in ways Bryn had only dreamed of. One evening, working late at the workshop, while the twins had a sleepover at a friend's house, Bryn and Callum finalized a major contract with a national retailer. This is huge, Bryn said, staring at the signed agreement. This could triple my revenue. You earned this. Your products are exceptional. But I couldn't have gotten the meeting without your connections. So we make a good team. They looked at each other across her desk, the air thick with unspoken feelings. Callum. I know. Co-parents. Just business. I remember. That's not what I was going to say. What were you going to say? That I'm scared. Of letting you in. Of trusting this. Of believing you've really changed. I understand scared. I'm terrified. Of messing this up. Of letting you down again. Of losing you and the kids. You can't lose what you don't have. Can I? Because Bryn, I feel like I have you. Or I could have you, if you'd let me. What about the kids? If we try this and it doesn't work, it will work. Because I'll make it work. Because losing you the first time taught me what matters. And I'm not making that mistake again. He stood up, walking around the desk until he was standing in front of her. I love you. I never stopped loving you. And I know I don't deserve another chance. I know I hurt you and destroyed what we had. But I'm asking anyway. Give me one more chance. Let me prove I've changed. Let me be the man you needed me to be. Callum. You don't have to answer now. Just think about it. Think about the possibility of us. A real family. Not just co-parents, but partners. In business, in life, in everything. He left before she could respond, leaving Bryn alone in her workshop with thoughts that wouldn't quiet. That night, she called Lennox. He told me he loves me. And I don't know what to do with that. Do you love him? I never stopped. That's the problem. I still love the man he was. I might love the man he's becoming. But what if he goes back to who he was at the end? What if this is temporary? What if it's not? What if he really has changed? Are you going to push him away because you're too scared to take the risk? The risk isn't just mine. It's the twins too. The twins adore him. They're already attached. The risk of him leaving exists whether you're together romantically or not. So what do I do? You ask yourself one question. If you knew for certain it would work out, would you want to be with him? Yes. Absolutely yes. Then there's your answer. Take the leap, Bryn. You deserve to be happy. So does he. So do those kids. The next Saturday was the twins' 6th birthday. Bryn had planned a party at the house. Friends from school, family, the usual chaos of children and cake. Callum arrived early to help set up, carrying boxes of decorations and a suspiciously large gift. "What is that?" Bryn asked, eyeing the enormous box. "You said they wanted a playset for the backyard. I might have gotten them one." "Callum, that's too much. It's their birthday. First one I've been here for. Let me spoil them a little." The party was wonderful chaos. 20 screaming children hyped up on sugar, running through her small house and yard. Parents chatting while trying to prevent total destruction. Callum was in his element. He organized games, helped kids with crafts, mediated disputes over toys. He was patient and kind, and completely present. Watching him chase Asher and 3 other boys around the yard, all of them laughing, Bryn felt something in her chest crack open. This was what she'd wanted 5 years ago, what she'd been too scared to fight for. A partner, a co-parent, a man who showed up. During cake, Willa made a wish and blew out the candles. Asher announced his wish out loud despite everyone telling him it wouldn't come true if he said it. "I wished for Mommy and Daddy to get married, so we can be a real family." The backyard went quiet, every parent looking at Bryn and Callum with varying degrees of curiosity and amusement. "Asher," Bryn started, mortified. "Sweetie, you can't just—" "Why not? Don't you love Daddy?" "That's complicated." "It's not complicated," Asher insisted with 6-year-old certainty. "You either love him or you don't." Callum looked at Bryn, a question in his eyes. "I think we should talk about this later," Bryn said weakly. "Why later?" Willa chimed in. "Just tell him you love him. Then you can get married and we can all live together." "It's not that simple," Bryn tried again. "Why not?" both twins asked in unison. Callum knelt down to their level, because grown-ups sometimes need time to figure things out. "Your mom and I are still learning how to be parents together. Adding other stuff makes it more complicated." "But you love her, right?" Willa asked. "Very much." "And Mommy loves you?" Callum looked at Bryn. "That's a question for your mom." 20 pairs of eyes turned to Bryn. Parents, children, all waiting for her answer. She looked at Callum, at the man who'd shown up every day for 2 months, who'd changed his entire life for children he'd only just met, who'd proven through actions, not words, that he was different. "Yes," she said quietly, "I love him." The backyard erupted in cheers from the children, laughter from the parents. "Then you should get married," Willa announced. "Problem solved." "It's not quite that simple, sweetheart," Bryn said, but she was smiling now. After the party, after all the guests had left and the twins were crashed out in their room in a sugar coma, Callum helped Bryn clean up. "Sorry about the ambush," she said, loading the dishwasher. "I didn't know they'd been planning that." "Don't apologize. Did you mean it?" "Mean what?" "That you love me." Bryn stopped, turning to face him. "Yes, I mean it. I'm still scared, and I don't know if this is smart, and I'm terrified of what happens if it doesn't work. But yes, I love you." Callum crossed the kitchen in 2 strides, pulling her into his arms. "I promise you, I will spend the rest of my life proving this was the right choice. I will never give you a reason to regret trusting me again." "That's a big promise." "I'm good at keeping my promises now. Ask Asher and Willa." She looked up at him, this man she'd loved and lost, and was maybe, possibly finding again. "What does this mean? For us?" "It means we try. Slowly, carefully, dating, I guess. Getting to know each other again, as the people we are now. Building something real. The twins are going to expect a wedding tomorrow. Let them expect. We'll do this at our own pace. When we're ready, not when 2 6-year-olds decide for us." Bryn laughed. "They're going to be insufferable about this." "Probably. But they'll also be happy. And that's worth a little insufferable." He leaned down, giving her plenty of time to pull away. She didn't. The kiss was soft, tentative, full of promise and possibility. It tasted like hope and second chances and coming home. When they pulled apart, Bryn rested her forehead against his. "If you hurt me again, I won't. If you hurt them, I won't. Bryn, I swear to you, I will spend every day for the rest of my life being worthy of you, of them, of this." If this story of second chances and transformation is touching your heart, hit that like button, and drop a comment telling me, do you believe people can truly change? Share this with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late to become who you're meant to be. 6 months later, Bryn stood in her workshop, now expanded to twice its original size thanks to that national retail contract. Ember in Bloom was thriving. 12 employees had become 20. Her products were in stores across the country. And every bit of success felt sweeter because she had someone to share it with. Callum had become a fixture in their lives. He had his own key to Bryn's house, his own drawer in her dresser. They hadn't officially moved in together yet, taking it slow like they'd promised. But most nights he was there, reading bedtime stories, helping with homework, sharing dinner, being a family. One evening, while the twins were at a friend's birthday party, Callum asked Bryn to meet him at the park. Their park, where they'd had that first meeting. "Why are we here?" Bryn asked, confused. "Because this is where everything changed. Where I met Asher and Willa for the first time. Where I started figuring out how to be their dad." "Okay. And I wanted this moment to happen here too." He pulled out a small box, and Bryn's heart stopped. "Before you panic, this isn't what you think. Or it is, but there's context. Callum, let me say this, please. 6 years ago, I let you walk away because I was too focused on the wrong things. Too caught up in building a company to see I was destroying what mattered. You left, and I told myself it was for the best. That we wanted different things. We did want different things. We did. But I was wrong about what I wanted. I thought success and money would make me happy. Instead, they made me cruel and empty. Then I found out about Asher and Willa, and everything shifted. You shifted. I remembered who I wanted to be." "Who's that?" "Someone worthy of you. Someone who values people over profit. Someone who shows up. Someone who keeps his promises." He opened the box. Inside was a ring, but not an engagement ring. A simple band with an inscription. "This is a promise ring. A promise that I'm here. That I'm committed. That when you're ready, really ready, I'll ask you properly. But for now, this is me saying I'm all in. For you, for the twins, for building a life together. No pressure, no timeline. Just a promise." Bryn took the ring, reading the inscription. "Always showing up. Always. That's my promise to you." She slipped it on her right hand, tears streaming down her face. "I love you. I'm still scared, and I'm still learning to trust this completely. But I love you. That's enough for now. We'll figure out the rest as we go." That night, they picked up the twins from the party together. Asher and Willow were exhausted but happy, chattering about the games they'd played. At home, during the bedtime routine that had become a team effort, Willa noticed the ring. "Mommy, what's that?" "A promise ring from your dad." "What's it promise?" "That he's not going anywhere. That he's part of our family forever." "Does that mean you're getting married?" Asher asked hopefully. "Someday, maybe. When we're ready." "When will you be ready?" "I don't know, sweetheart, but there's no rush." "I think you should get married tomorrow," Willa announced. "Then Daddy can live here all the time, and we can be together always." "Your dad practically lives here now," Bryn pointed out. "But I want it to be official. I want him to be my daddy for real." "He is your daddy for real," Callum said, pulling Willa into his lap. "Ring or no ring, marriage or no marriage, I'm your dad. That's forever." "Promise?" "Promise." 1 year after that audit notice had arrived and destroyed Bryn's carefully maintained secret, they gathered at the park again. This time for a different kind of celebration. Callum had organized a surprise party for Ember and Bloom's expansion and Bryn's 5-year business anniversary. Friends, family, employees, all gathered to celebrate. But the real surprise came at the end. "Can I have everyone's attention?" Callum called out. "I want to say something." The crowd quieted. Bryn looked at him, confused. He winked at her. "A year ago, my company audited Bryn's business. It was supposed to be routine. Instead, it changed my life. I discovered I had children I'd never known about. Discovered that the woman I'd let go years ago had built something extraordinary. Discovered that I'd become someone I wasn't proud of." He paused, looking at Bryn with such love it made her chest ache. "Bryn gave me a second chance I didn't deserve. Let me meet our children. Let me prove I'd changed. Let me back into her life. And I've spent this year trying to be worthy of that chance." He knelt down, pulling out a different box. This time, definitely an engagement ring. "I know I said I'd wait until you were ready. But Bryn, I've been ready since the day I met you." I've been ready since I realized what I'd thrown away. I've been ready since I understood that you and Asher and Willa are everything that matters. Callum, let me finish. You don't have to say yes today. You don't have to say yes ever if you're not ready, but I wanted to ask, properly, in front of everyone who matters. Bryn, Ashford, will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband again? Will you let me spend the rest of my life showing up for you and our children? The park was silent, waiting. Bryn looked at this man who'd changed his entire life, who'd proven through a year of consistent action that he was different, who'd been patient and understanding and present, who loved their children with everything he had, who loved her. Yes, she whispered. Then louder, yes. The crowd erupted. Asher and Willa rushed over, bouncing with excitement. You're getting married, Willa shrieked. Finally. We're going to be a real family, Asher added. We already are a real family, Callum said, pulling them all into a hug. This just makes it official. Later that night, after the celebration had ended and the twins were asleep, Bryn and Callum sat on her back porch, her hand in his, the engagement ring catching the moonlight. I can't believe this is real, Bryn said. Believe it, this is real, we're real. A year ago, I was terrified you'd find out about the twins. Terrified of what you'd do, how you'd react. And now? Now, I can't imagine our life without you in it. Good, because I'm not going anywhere. I meant what I said in that inscription, always showing up. That's my promise. You've kept it so far. I'll keep it forever. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars, thinking about the journey that had brought them here. Do you ever regret it? Callum asked. Not telling me about them from the beginning? Bryn considered. I regret that they missed having you for those first 5 years. I regret that you missed so much. But I don't regret protecting them from who you were then. Because Callum, you weren't ready. You would have tried, maybe even succeeded for a while. But eventually, the old you would have won. The company would have come first. They would have felt it. You're probably right. I know I'm right. But the you that you are now? This version who stepped away from the CEO role, who restructured your entire company, who chose children over profit. This version was worth waiting for. I just wish I'd found him sooner. Maybe you needed to lose us to become him. Maybe that's how transformation works. Sometimes you have to lose everything to understand what actually matters. Deep thoughts for 10 p.m. I'm engaged. I'm allowed deep thoughts. He pulled her close, kissing her temple. I love you. I love our children. I love this life we're building. I love you too, even though you're still annoyingly intense about everything. Some things don't change. Some things shouldn't change. 3 months later, they had a small wedding in that same park. Asher walked Bryn down the aisle. Willa was the flower girl and took her job very seriously, ensuring every petal was perfectly placed. Lennox stood as Bryn's maid of honor. Marcus Reeves, the auditor who'd inadvertently started everything, stood as Callum's best man. Who gives this woman to be married? The officiant asked. We do, Asher and Willa said in unison. They'd practiced for weeks. The ceremony was simple, but perfect. Vows written from the heart, promises made in front of everyone who mattered. I promise to always show up, Callum said, his voice thick with emotion, to put our family first, to be the man you need, the father our children deserve. To never forget that people matter more than profit, that love matters more than success. I promise to trust you, Bryn said, to let you in, even when it's scary, to forgive mistakes and celebrate growth, to build a life with you that honors who we were and who we've become. When the officiant pronounced them married, the twins cheered louder than anyone. At the reception, held in Bryn's now beautifully landscaped backyard, Asher gave a toast. I'm only 6, but I'm very smart, so everyone has to listen to my speech, he announced, making the adults laugh. When I was little, I didn't have a dad. I had mommy, and that was good. But sometimes I wondered what it would be like to have a dad too. Then, Daddy found us, and I was scared. What if he was mean? What if he didn't like us? What if he left? Callum's eyes were already wet. But he didn't leave. He came every day. He helped with my Legos and pushed Willa on the swings and was nice to mommy. And I stopped being scared. Because even though he wasn't there before, he's here now. And that's what matters. There wasn't a dry eye in the backyard. Willa insisted on giving her own toast. I love Daddy. He gives the best hugs, and he lets us have extra dessert sometimes, and he makes mommy smile. So I'm glad they got married. The end. As the sun set and the party continued around them, Bryn and Callum danced while their children played nearby. Happy? He asked. Impossibly happy. Good. Because I plan to keep you this happy for the next 60 years. 60? You're optimistic. I'm determined. There's a difference. She laughed, resting her head on his shoulder. I can't believe an audit brought us here. Best business decision I ever made. Hiring an auditor to review my books? No. Choosing to personally take over that audit when I saw your name. If I'd left it to Marcus, we might never have found our way back to each other. The universe works in mysterious ways. Or maybe it just knew we needed a push. A very large, very dramatic, very invasive push. Whatever it takes. They danced until the twins insisted on joining, making it a family dance. 4 people moving together, imperfectly but joyfully, building a life from the ashes of what could have been a disaster. If this story of second chances, redemption, and families rebuilt against all odds touched your heart, subscribe to Lux Love Chronicles with Mr. Wentworth for more incredible love stories. Share this with someone who believes it's never too late to change, never too late to show up, never too late to choose what really matters. And drop a comment telling me, would you have told him about the twins from the beginning, or do you think Bryn made the right choice in waiting? There's no wrong answer, only honest ones. Because that's what family is about. Honest choices, imperfect love, and the courage to keep trying. The truth is, being a parent is impossible. Making choices that affect another person's entire life when you're barely figuring out your own is terrifying. And sometimes, the decisions we make out of fear end up being exactly right. Sometimes protecting what matters most means making choices that hurt. Bryn kept the twins secret because she was scared. Scared of the man Callum had become. Scared of losing her children to courts and lawyers and money. Scared that they'd grow up feeling unwanted or used. Was she right? Was she wrong? Maybe both. But what matters is what happened next. When the secret exploded, when Callum discovered the truth, they both made choices. He chose to change. To restructure his life and his values. To become someone worthy of being a father. She chose to let him try. To give him a chance despite every instinct screaming at her, to protect her children from potential heartbreak. And together, they built something beautiful from the wreckage of what could have been a disaster. That's the real story. Not the audit, or the discovery, or the dramatic confrontations. The real story is in the daily choice to show up, to keep trying, to believe that people can change and second chances are worth the risk. Callum bought front row tickets to an audit he never meant to take personally, discovered children he never knew existed, and made a choice to become someone different, someone better. Bryn kept a secret she thought would stay buried forever, discovered that some truths refused to stay hidden, and made a choice to trust again, despite every reason not to. And Asher and Willa? They got the family they'd wished for. Imperfect, complicated, built on mistakes and forgiveness and the courage to try again. 5 years later, they stood in that same park, now with a new addition.